Time is one of the most precious and valuable resources that we can give children who have any kind of language or fluency difficulty. Time allows a little bit more time to think, a little bit more time to organise yourself, and a little bit more time to get your mouth and sequence those sounds and get it all out in the right order, in the right way, with the right sounds as clearly as possible. One of the things that challenges that and doesn't give a lot of time are questions, and we ask them all the time. So from a really young age, children learn a question needs an answer, and there's an implicit time pressure within that. So somebody asks you a question and they're expecting a response quickly. So that's fine if it's a very straightforward question like, what's this? A pen. If you can just go straight there, retrieve the word. But if I said to you, what did you do on your last birthday? Most of us have to think back, remember what we did on our birthday, and then decide which bits of that we're going to say. We're not going to say every detail from waking up to the end of the day, so we've got to pick out a few highlights maybe, and we've got to organise those thoughts, and we've got to then produce them, we've got to get them out. So when you have a very small time window for that, it can be really challenging for any of us, but particularly when you've got language difficulties or fluency difficulties. And a lot of the time what happens is the children then say, I don't know, I can't remember, I forgot, because they knew an answer was expected and they knew that their long answer or the actual answer was going to take them too long to generate and work out. So they gave us a sort of standard answer that they knew could come quickly. They're not thinking about this consciously, but it happens really over and over again. So how do we give them a little bit more time so that we get these lovely answers that give us more information and get them to share their ideas, which are actually really simple once you start getting into the habit of it. So it's about switching a question word and using these two wonderful little sentence starters, I bet or I wonder. So what happens is when we ask a question, there's an expectation of a response and a quick response. When we start with I bet or I wonder, we're really giving an open invitation for a response. So we might get one, we might not, but we've taken away a time pressure. We've brought in thinking time. So if someone said to you, what did you do at your birthday last year? And you don't respond, there's this awkwardness there. The conversation's had a breakdown. If someone said, I wonder if you can remember what you did at your birthday last year, and then just stops in a kind of thoughtful pause, just allows a bit of time. There's not that awkward, oh, something's gone wrong here, there's been a breakdown. If the child doesn't answer, that's fine. The adult can say, oh, it was quite a long time ago. It's hard to remember, isn't it? I'm not sure I can remember what I did at mine or something like that. Or the child has responded. So there's not this time pressure. So here are some examples. Once you get used to doing it, it's actually quite easy. So my first, here's an example for us. When playing with pretend Play-Doh, Playmobil, cars, anything like that, quite often we'll say, oh, what are you going to do next? What are you going to make next? What are you going to put on there next? Maybe they don't know. Maybe they're lost in the moment and they don't know. So straight away, they can't give you an answer because they haven't got there yet. So switching it up to just say, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. I wonder what she might do next. I wonder what the toys will do next. I wonder what that girl's going to do after she slept in that bed. And then you just wait. You've just thrown it out there. There is no pressure in the same way. And children instinctively know that it's not, recognise that it's not a question. It doesn't have that time pressure. So they can have a think and then they can tell you. The other one that's magic is the end of the day one, or the end of the after the holidays, after a weekend, that kind of thing. Quite often we say, what did you do today? What did you do at the weekend? What did you do when you went to Grandma's house? Did you have a good time at Grandma's house? Did you get up to lots of things? And there's a time pressure in all of that, but there's huge sort of memory, remembering, sequencing, organising, finding the vocabulary. And so a lot of children say, don't know, can't remember, I forgot. Not much. Because they know we needed an answer. We asked a question and there was an expectation of an answer, so they've given us the answer that they can do. What happens if you say something along the lines of, I bet you've been really busy at school today, and then you just wait? You often get a pause and then you often get a response that's longer and more detailed and maybe not quite what you're expecting. So you might get something like, yeah, it was really busy, I didn't like the maths, or my friend so-and-so wasn't there today, or my teacher wasn't there today, or we didn't have PE today because this happened. So you've just allowed them to have time, filter through the day, pick out something that actually was interesting or did strike them as interesting and share it. Really good for children who've got fluency because it allows them time to organise their thoughts, which means they're likely to get it out in a more fluent way, but really, really good for children with language difficulties, and actually really enjoyable for interaction with most children because they don't really like being fired questions. It can often turn into a bit of a question and answer session, can't it? Especially when we only get single word answers. We have to keep going. Did you do maths? Did you do a new book? Did you do blah, blah, blah? Whereas actually if we leave time, we often get more of a response and it feels a much more enjoyable interaction. So have a go with I Bet and I Wonder and see how you get on.